I found this story buried in the archives of unsolved mysteries. A chilling reminder that sometimes the most terrifying monsters aren't hiding under our beds, but hiding in plain sight. Welcome back to Jekyll's Journal. Tonight, lock your doors, turn down the lights, and settle in. We are delving into a case that will make you question how well you truly know the people around you, and how quickly a normal life can spiral into absolute, paralyzing terror. This is the chilling disappearance of Marilyn Bergeron. Marilyn Bergeron was a bright, cheerful 24-year-old woman. Born on December 21st, 1983, she was a young woman bursting with artistic passion and an insatiable curiosity for the world. She was fluent in both English and French, had dabbled in Spanish, and was even learning Russian. She was the kind of person who seemed destined for a vibrant, exciting life. In 2005, driven by her love for music and art, she made the leap to Montreal, settling into her own apartment. She landed a job as a sales assistant at Steve's music store and took on freelance work as a sound editor for a local TV station. For a while, everything seemed perfect. Montreal is a sprawling, beautiful city, but it has its shadows, and somehow Marilyn stepped into one. In the late months of 2007, a dark, heavy cloud descended upon Marilyn. Her friends and family began to notice a drastic, unsettling shift in her behavior. The bubbly, outgoing girl they knew was vanishing, replaced by someone withdrawn, deeply depressed, and perpetually terrified. On December 10th, 2007, an old college friend named Jonathan visited Marilyn at her Montreal apartment before they were supposed to head to a party. When Jonathan walked in, he wasn't greeted by a smiling friend getting ready for a night out. Instead, the apartment was pitch black. The television was off. The lights were out. Marilyn was sitting alone in the terrifying silence of the dark, listening to sad music, looking utterly broken. Against his better judgment, they went to the party. For a brief moment, the old Marilyn resurfaced. But then, while speaking to a friend, something was said, a trigger, a memory, a name, and an invisible switch flipped. Marilyn became extremely anxious and begged Jonathan to take her home immediately. When they got back to her apartment, she broke down. She wept violently, shaking with a fear that Jonathan couldn't comprehend. For 3 or 4 hours he sat with her, pleading with her to tell him what was wrong. Had she witnessed a murder? Had she been assaulted? Marilyn looked at him through tear-streaked eyes and gave an answer that still chills investigators to the bone to this day. "No," she said. "It's worse. You can't even imagine what I've been through." She refused to say another word. Jonathan got the distinct creeping feeling that Marilyn was staying silent to protect him, that if she spoke the words aloud, whatever darkness was hunting her would come for him too. By January 2008, the unseen terror had fully consumed her. Marilyn began calling her parents constantly, telling them she no longer felt safe in Montreal and desperately wanted to return home to Quebec City. On February 10th, 2008, she made the decision to flee. Over the next 6 days, her parents helped her hastily pack up her life. She didn't say goodbye to her co-workers. She didn't say goodbye to her friends. She simply vanished from Montreal, retreating to the perceived safety of her childhood home. But whatever she was running from had already taken residence in her mind. Back in Quebec City, the nightmare continued. During a phone call with her sister Natalie, a desperate Marilyn asked a question that reeked of absolute despair. "Is there light at the end of this tunnel?" She vehemently stated she would never, under any circumstances, return to Montreal. Her mother, Andre, tried to pierce the veil of secrecy. She asked Marilyn if she was in debt, if she was using drugs, or if she was suffering from a toxic breakup. Marilyn denied it all. But when her mother asked if she had been assaulted, Marilyn didn't say no. Instead, her lips tightened, she looked down at the floor, and began sobbing uncontrollably. She had promised she would finally tell her mother everything once she arrived home, but she never did. February 17th, 2008. The day the tunnel collapsed entirely. It was a freezing winter morning in Quebec. Marilyn woke up, ate breakfast, and told her parents she was going for a walk. She put on a long black overcoat with a faux fur trim and slipped into black suede boots. She left her identification behind, carrying only her credit card. At 11:15 a.m., she walked out of the front door of her family's home. She told her mother she'd be back in the afternoon. She never returned. The timeline of Marilyn's final known hours is heavily fragmented, relying entirely on digital footprints that paint a deeply disturbing picture. Shortly after leaving her house, around 11 a.m., CCTV cameras captured Marilyn at a Caisse Populaire Bank ATM on Boulevard de l'Ormière in Loretteville. The footage is haunting. Marilyn is seen attempting to withdraw $60, but her card is declined. But it's not the transaction that is unsettling. It is her demeanor. Throughout the brief video, Marilyn's eyes dart frantically. She continuously looks over her left shoulder, out the large window toward the parking lot. Her expression is one of trapped, helpless panic. She doesn't even glance at the man using the ATM right next to her. Her gaze is entirely fixated on something outside. Was a car waiting for her? Was someone watching her? Even more bizarre, in the security footage, Marilyn is carrying a black backpack. Her parents swore she didn't leave the house with it. Did she have it hidden outside? Or did someone hand it to her along the way? For the next 5 hours, Marilyn's whereabouts are a complete void. Then, at exactly 4:03 p.m., her credit card was used to purchase a cup of coffee at a Café Dépôt in Saint-Romuald. Saint-Romuald is 20 kilometers, about 12 miles, away from her parents' home. Marilyn did not own a car. To travel that distance in the bitter cold winter of Quebec, she almost certainly had to hitchhike, take a taxi, or receive a ride from someone. The barista who served her that afternoon vividly remembered the encounter. They reported that Marilyn seemed incredibly anxious, depressed, and was in an extreme hurry to leave. That cup of coffee was the last transaction ever made on her credit card. It was the last time she was ever officially seen. When evening fell and Marilyn hadn't returned, her parents knew the unspeakable had happened. They found her purse and a new pack of cigarettes abandoned by the doorway, items she never would have left behind voluntarily for an extended trip. The police were called and a massive search effort began, but the trail had gone ice cold. The police initially leaned heavily into the theory of suicide. They argued her decaying mental state led her to take her own life. But her family violently rejected this. Marilyn had moved back home specifically to seek safety. She was running from something, trying to survive. And then, the strange sightings began. Hawkesbury is a small, predominantly French-speaking town in Ontario, just across the Ottawa River, hundreds of kilometers away from Quebec City. In December 2009, nearly 2 years after Marilyn vanished, a couple in Hawkesbury was awoken at 2 a.m. by a frantic knocking at their door. They opened it to find a frail young woman. She was freezing, shivering violently against the bitter December chill. She was terribly underdressed, wearing only a light jacket, a white t-shirt, jeans, and high heels. The couple took pity on her, inviting her inside and offering her a towel to dry off. The woman was crying. She begged to use their phone.
She dialed a number, but no one answered.
Distraught, the woman asked for directions to Chamberlain Street. The husband, seeing how cold she was, offered to drive her, but the woman adamantly refused. She apologized profusely for the disturbance, walked back out into the freezing night, and disappeared into the darkness.
It wasn't until months later that the husband saw a news broadcast about Marilyn's disappearance.
He practically froze. It was her. He was certain of it. The only discrepancy was that the woman on his porch had blonde hair, but Marilyn's family quickly confirmed that she frequently dyed her hair blonde. And this couple wasn't alone. In early 2010, another man from Hawkesbury claimed to have seen Marilyn regularly in town over the past year. He said she was frequently seen in the company of a younger man. Soon, dozens of tips flooded in from Hawkesbury. Regular patrons at a downtown restaurant confidently identified her from photographs, affirming she was always accompanied by this mysterious young man. In total, over 40 sightings of Marilyn have been reported. But if she is alive, why hasn't she come home? Did Marilyn witness something so gruesome, so unfathomably dark in Montreal, that an underground syndicate threatened her entire family if she ever breathed a word? Was she targeted by human traffickers, forced to disappear into the shadows? Or did the profound, suffocating terror finally shatter her mind entirely, leading her to walk out into the freezing Canadian wilderness, never to be found?
To this day, her parents maintain her childhood bedroom exactly as she left it. Her clothes remain folded in the closet. Her bed remains made. And every Christmas, they wrap a present for her, placing it under the tree, waiting for the day she finally walks back through the door. Whatever horror Marilyn Bergeron encountered in Montreal, it was enough to erase a vibrant, talented young woman from the face of the earth. And the most terrifying part of all, the monsters that made her disappear are still out there. What do you think happened to Marilyn? If you enjoy diving into the darkest corners of the unknown, leave a like and subscribe. Until next time, keep your journal entries hidden and watch your back.